welcome. We're in the exhibition hall of the George R. Brown Convention Center, where the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod is having its 64th regular convention. I wonder what an irregular convention of the Synod looks like. And joining me here in the Concordia St. Louis improvised studio is President Brian Friedrich of Concordia University, Nebraska. Now, I want to do a little expose. Last night you were seen at a high-end restaurant eating some high-end meal. And when you're in church work, you take a vow of poverty, don't you?
Absolutely.
So how do you explain this to your constituents and your donors?
Well, Dr. Meyer, Jesus said, the poor you will always have with you. So that's part of the deal. These kind friends of Concordia University, Nebraska, we're just caring for the poor, for Lori and for me in our hungered estate.
So a couple who loves the mission of Concordia University, Nebraska.
Absolutely.
They took you out to this nice restaurant.
Yeah. So what were you doing there? How did you get there?
How
did you get there?
I was in the
you're
same
the
restaurant,
yeah.
and exactly the same scenario.
Yeah.
Somebody who loves the mission of higher education and the seminary took me out to this nice restaurant. And Diane and I had just a wonderful, wonderful time. So that's the truth. Yeah, it was a great time.
It was a great night. Yeah.
So tell us, what kind of things are you doing here at the convention?
Listening, a lot of listening.
Listening for what?
Our alumni, listening to what's going on in the church and how that might impact the mission and ministry of Concordia, Nebraska as we move forward.
What are some of the things you're hearing?
Commitment to the future of the church, commitment to higher education. I'm very excited about what I hear people saying the importance of theological education is, the importance of fully equipping those who are going to serve in the pastoral ministry, the teaching ministry, but also the lay vocations of our church. Very excited.
And why are the lay vocations important in addition to pastoral and teaching and diaconal ministries?
Do you remember John Klotz?
Yes, sir.
When I was at Concordia Seminary, St. Louis, he taught church polity. And one of the quotes I'll never forget, John said, "The layman is the payman, so he or she should be the sayman." And I've always appreciated that very important insight of John's, whether I was a parish pastor or now serving at Concordia, Nebraska, the importance of the laity in our church.
Well, the laity can also get into situations where a pastor can never go. A boardroom of a company, for example, they're not going to invite a pastor in to talk about something, but a lay person is there.
Yeah, they are absolutely on the front lines.
There was a time, correct me if I'm wrong, that Concordia Seward provided teachers to the church.
Still true. In fact, if today we were to have all of the workers, the full-time workers in the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod line up end to end and count off, 1 out of every 4 would say he or she attended or graduated from Concordia University, Nebraska.
Is that right? When I was pastor at Holy Cross Church in Collinsville, Illinois, a good number, I don't know if it was half, probably half or so, came from Concordia Seward.
Yeah, right.
And they're dedicated. And now at the seminary, the pastoral students that you send us are of high caliber. We really appreciate them.
Well, we so appreciate the partnership we have with you and with Dean Wenthe at Concordia Theological Seminary.
Well, that's right. You provide students to both seminaries.
We do.
But send the good basketball players to St. Louis.
You know, I
don't want Fort Wayne to win any basketball games.
But when we do that, and we play you guys in November, that almost cost us a game. You led us at halftime. Last November, the Preachers were ahead of the Bulldogs at halftime. That wasn't good. And as we looked at the roster, all save one were Concordia, not just Concordia, Nebraska, but Concordia alumni. That's impressive.
We're thinking about getting into some very serious scholarships.
Are you?
Basketball
scholarship.
So that we get those guys because we want to win. We want to win. It's funny that the story for years has been second career students and older students on the seminary campus. In fact, our age has been going down, and our entering age now is 25 years old. Basketball teams have gotten better.
Absolutely. Well, one of the young men that graduated from the seminary last year, Steve Coretto, assigned to Boca Raton, helped us nearly win the national championship his senior year.
Beautiful three-point shot.
Oh, what a shooter. What a shooter. Fine man.
What are some of the challenges that you face in your position as president of the university?
Well, with tongue in cheek, one of my personal challenges is staying out of the way. God's blessed us with an incredible faculty, incredible staff, incredible board. And so to let them do the things God's given them to do and not mess it up is probably personal challenge number one. But, and you know, that said, it's an incredibly difficult and challenging time in higher education today across the board, whether it's college, university, seminary education. So demographic challenges, funding challenges, with the economic meltdown, the impact that's had on endowments, you know, those are some of the kind of current fires that we deal with on a day-to-day basis.
From my own experience, there's real wisdom in what you said, getting out of the way so that the talented people on the faculty and the staff can do what they do. And you're kind of there, I presume, as the mentor, the coach, the cheerleader, but they do the work, and I know that you let them feel empowered to do the work they need to do. But do you spend a lot of your time externally focused? Because you talked about the recession and all the demographic challenges that we have. Are you externally focused?
I am. In fact, I have a personal goal of being gone from campus at least 50% of the time.
How's your wife feel about that?
She rather enjoys that. It's about time for you to leave again, isn't it, dear?
Well,
you've been home too much.
I have heard that. You're
right.
home too much.
Yeah, home too much. Yeah, right.
But why do you do that?
Yeah.
In other words, why is it important that you be out on the road?
Well, so that we're able to provide the support for our students. It's all about the students and helping them to be equipped for lives of learning, service, and leadership in the church and world for years and years to come. And it's pretty hard to do that without seeing people face to face, talking, listening, and sharing the vision and mission of Concordia for the future.
When I started as a student at Concordia, Milwaukee, in 1965, it cost $800. And I'd have a summertime job, I could make that money. Money was never really an issue. How is it for our students today?
You know, today we say that 99% of our students receive some type of financial aid. I'm challenged by that number because I don't know the 1% that don't receive any financial aid. Essentially, these kids not only receive but absolutely need financial aid to make their educations affordable. One of the things that continues to amaze me is, in comparison, how absolutely affordable our Concordia colleges, universities, and I'm going to assume seminaries are when compared with similar institutions. The reality is many people never know that or assume they're too expensive or that aid won't be available, but there's tons of aid available.
Yeah, sometimes the people within this little enclave called the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod complain about the costs, but our costs are competitive with universities and seminaries across the board. And one of the things that's interesting about both of our situations, university and seminary, is that unlike a company, we cannot sell more product. I mean, our product are people, and we just can't raise the price of the product or what have you, and go out and try and create more business. So it's a little bit different dynamic. Would you talk about the students that you send to the seminary will have a debt, probably some credit card debt, but certainly educational debt. And then they come to us and they go through that again. They add debt on. And we have started now to look at their debt load before we admit them.
Right.
Can you make some comments about this serious issue?
Oh, it is. In fact, 3 years ago in this very convention hall, a local pastor visited with me about one of our graduates who I thought was going on to the seminary. We were talking about this young man, and he said he's not going on to the seminary. And I said, well, why not? And he said, well, his debt was too high. The seminary said, until you get some of your debt paid down, we can't let you in.
Say that again so that we're sure that we hear this.
Until you get some of your debt paid down, the seminary said, we can't allow you to come to the seminary.
We have had to tell some students, wait, you're going to be a fine pastor, but first we've got to get this debt down because the debt will kill you.
Yeah.
You're not, and young people don't realize this. Oh yeah, I want to serve the Lord, and He'll provide. And it's only later in life that we realize there are limits to what we can repay loan-wise.
And doesn't that break your heart? Those stories break your heart, Dale?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And these are going to be fine pastors, deaconesses, church workers. So the Concordia University system and the seminaries, both seminaries, we really have to partner on attacking this issue of student debt at the undergrad and at the seminary level.
And it seems to me that there's a third or maybe fourth, fifth partner as well. Part of that whole decision process needs to have something to do with stewardship education back at, I would say, even the parish level, with pastors helping their parishioners understand Christian stewardship, and young people having a sense and making good financial decisions early on. You know, one of the things that was so troubling to me about this pastor telling me this young man was not going to be able to come on campus at the seminary, and surprise to me, this man was driving one of the newest, fastest cars on campus.
And not all paid for.
And not all paid for. And that was part of his debt challenge.
When I walk through the parking lot of our campus, I often think, oh, I'd like to have a car like that.
Yeah.
I'd like to have a car like that. And then I start to put two and two together. Now, in some cases, our second career fellows have paid it off.
Right.
And we have had students who paid their tuition. They didn't take the, we try to give about 50% grant and scholarship.
Yep.
That's the best we can do right now. I look forward to the day when our scholarship funds are great enough that we can give scholarship for most of what they have.
You know, one of the other things that I think is exciting as I travel around, you probably hear the same stories, is what maybe circuits or congregations or even districts are doing for students after they graduate from seminary.
Tell us about
you know, these
that.
loan forgiveness programs. In fact, I was at the ordination of one of our graduates a few weeks ago, and he said the circuit where he vicared is continuing to help him pay off his educational debt now as he enters the pastoral ministry. And I thought, praise the Lord, what a wonderful, wonderful thing.
I've heard people say, well, why should pastors get this special kind of a deal? And the answer is, they don't need it if you're going to pay them like a lawyer would make, a doctor would make, or so on. But a pastor, as we very well know from our own experience, is never going to get these big paychecks to make those student loan repayments.
Right.
What are some of the other things you see on the horizon for the university?
Continued growth and development. One of the areas that we're very excited about is our graduate school and new programs. In fact, we hope by this time next year to have 2 fully online graduate programs. So what technology is enabling us to do, much like it's enabling the seminary to do, is really pretty exciting and dynamic.
Yeah, we're looking at a revision of our curriculum, and one of the things that we've learned, at least I have learned, others have known it, is that the question is not residential curriculum and distance curriculum. The two are coming together in a hybrid. Yeah. And it's going to be an efficient way to do business.
Right.
You know, I could picture, I've had people say, could you get together, could you, St. Louis, get together with Concordia Seward, Nebraska, and have a special track for rural ministry? Mm-hmm. Well, with distance learning capabilities and the ability for your profs and our profs to teach via the internet, that's doable in a very efficient way.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The future is not necessarily going to be more costly. If we are efficient, it certainly can be more economical.
In my sense, and I don't know what yours is, but my sense is the demand for education will only continue to increase. And we're seeing, I would call it a compression, so that there can be an expansion. So there's a compression of the time students spend getting their bachelor's degree so they can go on and get their master's degree, or hopefully beyond that, a PhD or whatever it is.
I think that's a very good observation. We're facing a different kind of culture today than we did when you and I grew up. And the fact of the matter is that the church needs the best trained, informed pastors and laity that they can get. I like to say that on the side of the pastors, we need pastors who can go way up into the ivory tower and learn things that you're not going to learn at a Bible college. No offense to Bible college,
Right.
but
Right.
to learn these things and then bring them down and meet the people where they're at. And our Concordia system, the universities and the seminaries, are blessed by God to have this capability to do it. And when I deal, and I should ask you how you find it, but when I deal with other seminaries, my goodness, how our synod has been blessed with these two seminaries. They are strong, venerable institutions that have the wherewithal for the future. I bet you find it the same way.
Well, and one of the hats off to Concordia Seminary is I believe every member of our theology faculty is an alumnus of Concordia Seminary St. Louis. And I think not only do they give the kids a great theological exposition of God's Word and the confessions, but also a very practical application. It's marvelous. It's marvelous. And because Concordia is serving not only students from LCMS congregations, the opportunity we have to proclaim the gospel sometimes to students who have never even seen, can you believe that, seen a Bible.
Really? Mm-hmm. Wow. No, I never thought
And it's
about
not
that.
uncommon, Dale, for us to have a student baptized on an annual basis, either at St. John Lutheran Church, our partner ministry church, or right on campus. So kind of cool.
Hadn't thought about that, but it's a different day and age. But both institutions are well positioned to meet the opportunities that the Lord has put us here. Now, you gave that unsolicited testimonial. It was unsolicited testimonial about your faculty coming from St. Louis. In return for that, get a load of this. Let me present you.
Is that a Packer tie?
I'll take it out of the wrapper so it doesn't
That looks
show.
like a Packer tie.
I want to give you an alumnus of Concordia Seminary, the official. You would think it's a Packer tie, but no, you look down at the bottom and it has the seal of Concordia Seminary.
You know.
So for your partnership, here you go. Next time you go to that high-end restaurant, you should eat that. Eat that. Wear that.
Wear that.
Wear that, and don't let the E dribble on the tie.
You know, this is very meaningful, Dale, because my grandfather, my father, my three uncles, and my brother all attended Concordia Seminary St. Louis.
That's great. I know your brother. He was a student of mine during the first time I taught, and your dad, what a great guy.
And I escaped all your classes. I probably wouldn't have been.
That's probably why you've done so well.
No, I probably would still be in the seminary. Yeah.
Thank you, President Friedrich.
Thanks, Dale.
President Brian Friedrich, Concordia University, Nebraska. Another great partner with Concordia St. Louis. God bless you and the university.
And God's blessings to you, Dale.
Thank
Thanks
you.
a ton.